This tutorial will be for creating an asteroid in Blender. I'm using Blender version 2.79. In the picture you'll see a picture of the Vesta asteroid from the NASA site. Definitely we want to look at what an asteroid really looks like before we start. This is the end result of the tutorial with the background put in. To begin the asteroid tutorial, I want to mention that you must make sure that you create your icospheres in the exact same order as I do in the tutorial, because we're going to be using a script later to speed up the process. If you know scripting, that's not a big deal, but if you don't know scripting, then you want to stick strictly to the order that I create these icospheres, so that the names match what's in the script. That's what's important. Make sure that you're in the object mode and click Add Mesh Icosphere. If you don't have the toolbar on the left, press T on your keyboard to bring it up, and then click on the small black triangle to increase the subdivisions to 3. You're going to want to do this on the second icosphere that we do too. You're going to want to change that to 3 over there, because I don't think I do it later. So I don't think I do it in the next few steps. So when you spot us creating that second one, do that part of it too. Okay, on your keyboard press S and then Y. This will allow you to scale the mesh strictly along the y-axis. You can use SY, SX, SZ. This is just to set the shape of what our asteroid's final shape is going to be. Okay, now let's add the new icosphere, which we will use for creating the craters in the larger one we've just created. Go again to Add Mesh Icosphere, and remember to change the number of subdivisions, as I mentioned earlier that I didn't show here, to 3. Alright, and now press S on your keyboard, drag the mouse until it is quite a bit smaller, until the icosphere is quite a bit smaller than the other mesh, and click the left mouse button to set the size. Move the small icosphere to a place where it is intersecting with the large icosphere. Leaving the small one selected, hold down the Shift key on your keyboard and click Select the large icosphere. Now in the far upper right, you'll see a small wrench icon. Click on that. You will see an Add Modifier bar below the wrench you clicked. Click on that bar and a submenu will appear. In the submenu, click on the icon that says Boolean next to it. The small black arrow points that out. The Boolean modifier panel will appear, and you'll see a small gray bar with the word intersect on it. Click on that. A submenu will come up, and that submenu, on it, click on the word difference. That's the type of Boolean we're going to be doing, as a difference Boolean. To the right of the intersect bar that you just clicked, you will see an orange box. Click on that and it'll bring up a small panel that will have the name of the large icosphere on it. Click on that. And now click the blue Apply button. Then select the small sphere and move it away. You should see that it has created a crater for you in the larger icosphere. Now click on the X to close the modifier panel. Each time you do this, you're going to want to close that panel, and then you'll start over. Repeat this process, always making sure that you select the small icosphere, then the large one, and follow the same steps starting with wrench, add modifier, Boolean, difference, and then select the orange box with the file name down below it, and then apply. Now that you've completely become bored with doing this operation over and over again to make your craters, let's speed the process up in a drastic way by using a script. In the upper right corner of the 3D view, you'll see a corner that has what appears to be small ripples. Move your mouse cursor over them, left click and hold it down and drag it over, down and over. On the screen panel that you just pulled out, look to the lower left and you'll see a small box. Click on it and follow the menu up to Text Editor, which is highlighted here. Click on it. On the lower center panel, click on the New button where you see the black arrow on this screen. Not much will change other than you'll see the text box fill with the name text.001. Now take your mouse and place it over the line that divides the two panels and hold down the left mouse button and drag it left until you see a blue button on the lower right of the new panel that says Run Script. As the large black arrow points out, the Run Script button is now showing. When I post this video tutorial, I'll also place the script that we are going to use in the comments below it, so you can copy paste it into the text box, or you can copy it from the following screen view. When you copy paste or type in your script, you'll likely not see the colors that are shown here. Let's change that. On the bottom of the text box where you see the black arrow, click all three of the small squares that the arrow is pointing to. They will now show up as they do on this screen. You'll also notice that the text now has colors. I normally keep all of these buttons in the press mode because it's easier working with them that way, and the colors help. Now zoom back into the asteroid. You can use on your mouse, just use the scroll wheel when you have the cursor over the 3D view. Okay, and intersect the small sphere with the large sphere so that you can create a crater. And make sure that you do not have any modifiers left open by closing them. On the upper right, click X to close any modifiers you might still have open. It's very important to close all modifiers before running the script, or you'll get weird results like a union or an intersection instead of a difference Boolean. Right on the where the black arrow is pointing, click that X to close anything you got open like that. Now that you've closed all modifiers, select the small icosphere and position it to make a new crater. Click on the Run Script button. Move the small icosphere and you'll see that it's created a crater. Repeat the process until you have enough craters. Once you've created all the craters you want, you can save the script by clicking Text and then clicking Save As and giving it a name like Asteroid Script. Now that we do not need the script panel open anymore, let's close it. Hold your mouse button over the small wavy area on the upper right corner of the 3D panel and hold down the left button and drag it into the script panel and release it. This will close the script panel so that you have a large 3D view. Now that you have an asteroid that looks like it has been through hell, let's choose a new modifier. Click on the Add Modifier and select Smooth. Alright, now click on the little black triangle to the right of Repeat until you have a 3. And now click the Apply button, that blue Apply button. Alright, and press T on your keyboard to remove the toolbar on the left. Place your mouse in the upper right corner, and on that corner where the small ripples are, hold down the left mouse button and drag until you have a separate panel visible. Click on the small box on the lower left corner of the panel and select Node Editor. On the top middle, click on the drop-down menu and select Cycles Render. Very important that you be in Cycles Render. You'll see that right up at the center top. Click on Cycles Render, that's important. It won't render right if you don't do that. Then in the panel on the right, click on the middle button, and to the right of it you'll see Use Nodes. Click on that checkbox so that there's a check marked in it. You'll see that by that big black arrow I have on the screen here. Now click on the globe that is the small button on the left. See that black arrow again? That will make some different nodes appear. You can click on the line between these two panels and hold down the left mouse button to move the panel to make it wider if you need to. Also, to zoom in the node editor, it works just like in the 3D view. Place the mouse over it and use the mouse scroll wheel to zoom in and out. Now in the node editor, click on the Add menu below the main area of that node editor panel and go to Texture, Noise Texture, and click it. It'll bring up a new Noise Texture node, and it's already attached to the cursor, so you can drag your mouse to the position where you want to place it. On the Noise Texture node, you'll see in the upper right a yellow circle with color to the left of it, with the word color. Click on it and drag it over to the gray circle that is in the lower left of the Material Output node. It should snap to connect the two. Alright, and this shows them connected. On the node with the red top that says Diffuse BSDF, click inside the white square to bring up the color picker. On the narrow black and white bar on the far right of it, click about 1/4 of the way down so you get a gray color. You want a light gray color. That'll be the actual color of the asteroid once we render it out. In the 3D view, click the Add menu at the bottom and click on Camera. You'll see the camera appear in the view. Move it to a place where it will be facing the asteroid. You might need to rotate it. You can do that just by pressing R and then the axis X, Y, or Z that you want to rotate it on. Adjust it the best you can so that it looks like it'll show the asteroid, and we'll improve on that right away. When you have the camera in place as best you can tell, press the Insert or the 0 on your keyboard's number pad. It'll show you the camera view. To escape from the camera view, all you have to do is hold down the mouse wheel and move the mouse as if you are rotating something in the 3D view. Once you can see the camera view, you can adjust it after you exit from it. Then go back into it and check it until it looks good. So you're basically going back and forth. You're going from camera view, rotating back out of it and adjusting the camera, going back into camera view. And once you get it right, then you're done with that step. Click on the Add again at the bottom and add some lighting. I've chosen an area light and the sun. However, I wouldn't choose the area light in this case because it didn't seem to work very good for me, and I turned the intensity way down on it. Probably get better results using the sun and maybe a couple point lights, but you probably want to put them relatively close together because you want some shadows. You can rotate the lights to make the light beam travel correctly. They rotate like any other object. Press R and then X, Y, or Z, whichever axis you want to rotate them on. Select the asteroid again and check to see if you have your settings matching mine. They don't have to exactly match mine, but they should be relatively close. And as I said earlier, adjusting the light position and intensity can improve the render. Now let's render. It's very important that your mode be set to cycles render by the black arrow in the upper right center of the screen. I know I mentioned that before, but you just want to make sure that you get a good render. Now go to the upper left and click on Render, Render Image. Okay, and this is the final render. And once I've done a little compositing, this is the result that I got. You should be able to get similar results by following the tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed the tutorial.